All right. So thank you. So I will post this afterwards for people who don't make it onto this. I will post this afterwards. Um, for folks to go back to get questions answered or whatever the case may be. Let's see, go back to this. Okay, so do we really have to discuss why travel matters?
Probably not.
Okay, all right. Well, let's just pass over that. Okay, so is anybody else in the waiting room? No, not yet. We're going to keep going because we are. Um, Tom is muted, but now can you see it? Share. So I hit share again.
Open your window.
Is he on speaker view by any chance?
Okay.
I'm not sure. It's okay if I can't see it as long as everyone else can. I can kind of pull it up on my end. That's no big deal.
Okay. All right. All right. And you guys can still see it, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then perfect. And then we'll just move right ahead. So, Tom, you want to say anything about EF Ravel Go Ahead Tours?
Yeah, I could open it up for questions, or I guess I'll start out by introducing myself. I'm Tom. I'm a tour consultant that works with all of the group coordinators out of Illinois, South Dakota, North Dakota, and Montana. So I help people put trips together and get their groups together and go to amazing places like the national parks and Canada. And
Okay.
I guess to tell you a little bit more about EF, we started out as a language school about 50 years ago. And over the years, we've kind of evolved into a travel company. So we have student travel, travel for adults, high school exchange, college exchange, and even a Tour de France bike team. So we have a pretty big global presence, about 700 offices across the world. But yeah.
So that's pretty good size. Okay.
You tomorrow. Do you want us to drop the deposit off?
I got it. Okay. So cool. So I had a couple of calls with Tom and I had a list of questions as long as my arm is based on our experience with the last group that we worked with. And I'm sure he was like, why are you asking me this?
Let us tell you.
Yeah, but we wanted to make absolutely sure that none of that stuff happened ever again. So I feel fairly confident that that will be the case with this company. Yeah, there were a couple of questions I asked, and he was like, "Say what now?" So, I feel pretty good about the fact that our tour directors will actually know where we are and what we're looking at and be able to tell us about it, which is good.
Right.
Yeah.
So this is for next year's travel.
This is for next year's, yes.
Oh, okay. I thought this was for the fall trip.
Nope, the fall trip when we had a meeting for that one. No, I don't know, a couple months ago. That one's already posted on our channel, our YouTube channel. But you can ask me questions about that one too. If you have a question, I'll answer it.
No, I don't have one in particular. No.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, the only real thing I have to say about that one is if you want to go on that one, get signed up before August 1st because I'm shutting that one down on August 1st.
I've been signed up for that for a long time.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. There you go. So no, this one is about next year. This is next year's.
Okay.
Next year's trip. So and we've got a couple of nice tours, I think really nice tours set up. And they're going to include our airfare this time because they're far enough away that we're going to have to take, and I know people just, I know the plane travel thing is not something that a lot of people look forward to. However, if we're together as a group, it won't be terrible. So I corral people at the airport and make sure you get where you're supposed to go and take care of folks. So it's not that big a deal. And then we can go farther. So to go clear out to the Grand Canyons and then all the way up to Yellowstone on a bus and then to and from Illinois would just be killer. You know, it's just too far for us to do that. So that being said, this particular deck should be about Grand Canyon. And we know all of this is included. So this is the stuff that we normally include on our tours. So pre-book tickets, the transportation, except for the flights. So that's new. The meals and whatnot. That's typically on the tours that we already do. So tips, this is stuff in addition to what the tour would cost is tips, and that would be your total tips, 12 to 15 US dollars a day. There are several meals included on both of these trips that we have for next year's. And of course, if you're going to spend any money, your souvenir money would not be included. And if you purchase a ton of souvenirs and have to have overweight baggage coming home, that would be up to you. Passports, that of course is up to you. The only one we need a passport for is the Canadian Maritime one. Here's my place to personalize the slide. So we go into Albuquerque for this tour. So we fly into Albuquerque, and in Albuquerque, I have asked that we take the time to visit a really neat cross-stitch shop. So there's a very nice cross-stitch store in Albuquerque that we're going to get worked into this trip. And then we head out to Santa Fe. And in Santa Fe, there's a really nice quilt shop that we will see in Santa Fe. And those are the only two craft related things that we will do for the week. So most of it is going to be about seeing, you know, the fabulous scenery in the national parks. But I did want to squeeze those two things in there. So we did. We did. So here is the map. We leave out of Albuquerque, then up to Santa Fe, then across to Mesa Verde. Have any of you been to Mesa Verde?
Mm,
No?
I don't
It's
think so.
really cool. That's the one that has literally they're like palaces built into the cliffs.
Hmm.
It's really neat. Anyway, then across to Monument Valley and then down over the Grand Canyon, up to Zion, up to Bryce, up to Salt Lake City, then up to Jackson to see Grand Teton and Yellowstone. And then we fly back home. So quite a bit of territory covered there. And you can imagine if we were going from Illinois to here and then all this and then back to Illinois, good Lord, we'd be on the bus for 3 weeks. So travel documents, you don't need passports for this one. You don't need medical documents or visas. We always do collect on our bus trips. We always collect an emergency contact medical form in a sealed envelope, which I keep with me in the case something happens. Then I would be able to contact whoever I need to contact or, you know, get whatever taken care of that needs to be taken care of. After the trips, I will destroy those envelopes. So yes, it's a pain because you have to do it for every trip you take, but I don't want to have the responsibility of having that kind of information that could be sensitive in my possession for any length of time. But I do collect that. I send you that in email, and then you just bring it in a sealed envelope when you come for the trip. And then I never look at it unless something happens. And knock on wood, we have not had an incident that has required me to open one yet. And we want to keep it that way.
Awesome.
Yeah. All right. So travel coverage, you can get trip protection on here. These guys offer trip protection. We also have, oh my gosh, it just slipped my mind. There's another company that we've been using, so you could certainly compare prices to see which one is better for you. But trip protection is always great because if you're after the cancellation date and something happens, I don't know, you break a foot or something, you want to be able to get your money back. And that's what the trip protection is really for. It also has some coverage for some other things that might be bad, like you get sick somewhere weird that your insurance doesn't cover, or your luggage gets lost or whatever. So it's always good to have that. Okay, we're next into tour overview. Let's just start. Okay. Okay, so here's our pricing on this one. This is the Grand Canyon one. So it is $4,659. Now that includes your airfare. It does not include the helicopter. You're going to get if you take I don't think anybody's going to take the helicopter, but if you do, that's an extra $250. There are some discounts you can get for this. If you sign up before July 31st, there's various and sundry discounts. You sign up for both tours, you get $350 off of each of them, which is nice. What you're getting 11 on this particular tour, 11 nights in hotels. So, it's longer than just a week. 11 nights, 11 breakfasts, 1 lunch, 3 dinners, 8 sightseeing tours. We get the tour director, the tour guides the whole time, and we got our own coach the whole time. So we're not sharing with anybody. You can sign up and you can auto pay monthly, or you can pay manually, however you want to do that, or you can pay it in full. It's up to you. And the whole tour is in there, the itinerary. I can pull that up in a sec here. Oh, we lost somebody and she's back in. Okay. So, I can pull up the full itinerary in just a second here. Anyway, so here's how you enroll. It's the, is that our link?
I'm not able to see it.
I don't
But
think that's our link. So guys, if you go to the Cool Thing in the Valley website, right on the front, the home page of the website, there's a big old button with a picture of the Grand Canyon. If you click on that, it takes you to where you enroll. So you don't have to go too far to find it. And enrollment closes 7/31. How is that?
so the enrollment stays open. That was the deadline for the
For the money off.
for the discount. Yes.
Yeah, for the discount. Okay. Yeah. So for the discount, you have to get in by the 31st, with at least $99 down. You have to get in by the 31st to get the money off. Otherwise, you can enroll later. You don't have to do it right off the bat. Okay. Let me pull up that's the itinerary for that. So what do you think I did with the itinerary? Well, whatever. I've got it right here. I'll just talk you through it. We'll just go back to regular old person on person.
Can I ask a quick question?
Absolutely.
This is Susie.
Hello.
These prices are all based on double occupancy.
Yes.
Is there an option to have a single price?
Yes, there is. And Tom is going to have to provide that because I don't know what that would be. Normally that would be something I would have figured out, but I don't know that because these guys are the ones doing that.
Okay, thank you.
No worries. Let me take a look really quickly, or I can drop it in the chat, actually.
Okay. Okay. Great. Perfect. Okay, so this tour here. So here's the details. Here's the good stuff. Here's the good stuff. I have to take my glasses off to see now, you guys. Getting old sucks. Okay. So day 1, which would be May 2nd, we fly to Albuquerque. And I think our main flight, Tom, correct me if I'm wrong, but our main flight would be coming out of Chicago, correct?
Correct. And if there's people in other parts of the country that are not flying out of Chicago, we can always book a flight from somewhere else.
So, except that I would not be there to corral them. They would have to get themselves to the airport and to where we're going. We'd pick them up on the other end, but they'd have to get there by themselves. No big deal. Okay, so Albuquerque, we're in Albuquerque first. And that is where the Sandia crest and all that stuff up there. You can take a cable car up to the top of that. That's really cool up there, but I don't believe we have any of that planned in here. We're just landing there. But we are going to visit that cross stitch store while we're there. You'll see Sandia Crest and Sandia Mountains. They're big, so obviously we'll see them. And then we drive up to Santa Fe. It is, if you've not driven through New Mexico, you guys, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful drive up to the north of New Mexico into where Santa Fe is. It's beautiful. Real windy roads, lots of valleys and hills and buttes, and it's pretty. So we go to Santa Fe. What are we doing in there? We're going to see the mountains. Yes, obviously, as we drive through there. Travel through the plaza, the heart of the city. We'll see the 1610 Palace of the Governors and the state capitol known as the Roundhouse. We will go to Loretta Chapel to see the staircase, an engineering marvel. It's a turned staircase that makes two full 360-degree twists to reach the choir loft. Then we have lunch that day, which is good. And then we head up to Durango. So we're heading into Colorado the next day. We will see greenery and it's pretty. The San Juan Mountains. Stop in the old West Frontier mining town of Durango on the way to Mesa Verde, which is, that'll be fun. We will pass by Abiqui, I'm going to butcher these names, but that's okay. Abiqui Lake, where Georgia O'Keeffe lived. We are going to see the Echo Amphitheater, which is a rock formation. We are going to see lots of southwestern terrain. And then it looks like we are overnight in Durango. So we get to spend some time downtown there on the main avenue with the Victorian architecture and all that good stuff. Again, an included dinner there with beer or wine. Like that matters to us because most of us aren't drinking a lot of beer and wine, but that's okay. If you want some, you can have some. All right, then the next day we actually go to Mesa Verde. So we've got a guided tour of Mesa Verde that next day, which is, I'm telling you guys, that is one of the coolest places I have ever been. It is so neat and fancy. They look so fancy for how old they are. Anyway, that's where the Anasazi live. There's like a big, I don't know what to, canyon, I guess. And it's got real steep sides on both sides. And there's dwellings on both sides of this canyon. It's just really cool. So 800-year-old dwellings that honeycomb the walls of the canyon. Perched precariously on cliff sides, offer glimpses into the lives of ancestor Puebloans. Imagine it would have been really kind of comfortable in them because they would have been out of the heat, and then because it was all sandstone and stone, would have been relatively cool inside, I would think. They're neat. So we get to see all of that, and of course there's gift shops, because of course. Then we go to Monument Valley, where the rock formations like Mexican Hat capture your imagination. We'll take photos, and then we head to Kayenta, Arizona, and that's in the heart of Navajo Nation. Again, we have another dinner, and this dinner does not include alcohol because it's on Navajo Nation territory. The next day, we eat our breakfast. Go ahead. Do you have a question? No? Okay. So the next day we head into Tuba City to learn about culture and living history of the Navajo at the Explore Navajo Interactive Museum, which is nice. And it says meeting Peter McDonald is not guaranteed. And I'll have to be honest, I'm not sure who Peter McDonald is, but he is apparently the leader of the Navajo. I'm not sure. We'll have to look him up. But anyway, there's some kind of a presentation and World War II code talkers. I have met a couple of World War II code talkers. There was a book signing I was at once. That was really neat. To talk to those folks, and it's not going to be too long before we lose them. So this is probably one of the, I mean, what, they've got to be in their 90s at least. So if there's code talkers left, by golly, we should go talk to them, because that's something historical right there. Anyway, then we head off to the Cameron Training Post. Navajo art, it's a gift shop. Navajo artwork, jewelry, crafts, all that stuff. Their jewelry is gorgeous. A lot of sterling silver with set cabochon type jewels. Really pretty stuff. The last time I went out in that area, I came back with a bag full of really pretty necklaces and some earrings. Anyway, all right, then we continue our journey along to the Grand Canyon. We arrive at the South Rim, and we have a scenic walk with our tour director. It is not going to be a walk down into the canyon where we have to worry about packing in, you know, all the stuff. It'll be a walk that'll be targeted to us. Lots of pictures, see the Colorado River, take more pictures. And then we're going to stay overnight. And the next day we have a full day. You can walk around the South Rim. You can hop on a free shuttle, go at your own pace. You can walk trails. You can do whatever you want to do in the Grand Canyon on that next day. And that's the day that helicopter thing is available, if that's something that trips your trigger. It'd be cool to see, you know, the Colorado River going through in a helicopter. It would be cool. I'm not sure, Tom, do you know how close we're going to be to that glass observation thing?
I'm not positive, but I can take a look at it, because you should have some free time while you're in the Grand Canyon. So that's something we could probably arrange.
Yeah,
Let
if
me
we
take
were
a
going to
look.
be close to that, that would be way cool. So if you guys don't know about that, it's a see-through, like a platform that extends out over the canyon, and you can walk out on it. You can walk right straight down. It's really okay. Then the next day we head to Vermilion Cliffs National Monument en route to Zion National Park. We pass Vermilion Cliffs. I already said that. History of settlement dates back more than 12,000 years ago. That's pretty cool, with petroglyphs. So that'll be fun to see. Then we go to Zion National Park, which is named by the Mormons as they came through Utah. We'll take an open air tram through there, and then we'll have a guide that will tell us all about what we're seeing. And wildlife and all that kind of stuff. And then apparently there are free shuttles that are going to take us back to the hotel if you want to stay there longer. You can do that. So we stay in Salt Lake City. Included meal is breakfast that day. And let's see. Then we're going Bryce Canyon the next day. Yeah, Bryce Canyon. And that is another place. The Paiute tribe was in Bryce Canyon. Okay, so Bryce Canyon, again, was the Paiute tribe. We're going to go see what? We're going to see guided exploration of the park on bus and on foot. Take pictures. Those arches and the bridges and things will all be there. And then the hoodoos will be there. Those are rock formations shaped like totems and towers. So we'll be able to take pictures of those. We get to stop at Inspiration Sunset and Sunrise viewpoints, and then we will continue back to Salt Lake City. The next day we transfer into Wyoming on a scenic drive en route to the resort town of Jackson. Visions of Yellowstone in the Teton Range. We're then going to set out to go explore Grand Teton National Park, which is part of the Rockies. Go to Logan Canyon. Lots of wildlife. And then we get to see Bear Lake, which is nice. We will get to tour Grand Teton by bus and on foot, so you'll have some time to get off the bus and do what you will. And then we stay in Jackson for the evening. Of course, Jackson is a big old tourist trap, so there's lots of galleries and restaurants and shops and things to do in Jackson. And then the very next day we head to Yellowstone for a full day. So we get to go to Oxbow's Bend, Artist Point, Upper and Lower Falls, which is good. We get to watch Old Faithful and not put your foot in it. Did you guys hear somebody else just, what did they do? They drove their car in, I think it was last week. Did you guys see that on the news? Somebody did something with one of the guys, the hot springs. I think they drove their car in it. Apparently that one wasn't hot enough that they died, but duh. Don't do stuff like that. Anyway, we get to see it, and we get to see the bubbling mud pots and the steaming hot springs. So that's cool. We get to look for the gray wolves and the bison. We'll see the bison. I doubt we'll see the gray wolves, but we'll see the bison. We'll see the mountain goats and all of that. We head back into Jackson. We have some free time in Jackson. And a farewell dinner that night. And then the next day we head back home. So it's a pretty good tour. It hits a whole lot of the high spots out there in the Southwest. And we can do it from the comfort of our bus, which will be air conditioned, and we're going to go in May. So it's not going to be crazy hot, which is the reason we chose May. So anybody have any, I'm going to unmute. I muted a bunch of people, so I'm unmuting. Does anybody have any questions on that particular trip? We will have a bus driver that speaks English. We will have a bus driver that actually gets off the bus and won't park us right next to a sheet of ice. Yeah. We also will have a tour director who knows where we are and won't sleep on the bus. So, hey, these are all benefits.
Yes.
Yes, they are. And Judith was on that trip. She knows
Yep.
what I'm talking about.
Yep.
Holy cannoli. That was just, whoa. Anyway.
But
Okay.
super people we traveled with.
Super people. We had a great group and we saw really beautiful things. So it was all good. But yeah, I had a lot of questions for poor Tom. He's like, why are you asking me this? Anyway,
No
okay, let's
worries.
do the next one. No worries.
Oh, I said no worries, no worries.
Yeah. Seriously, he was like, say what now? Oh, let's see here. Can I do this again? Let me see if I can get you in. Share that. And share. So we should be up on the Nova Scotia one now, right? Anybody see that?
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right.
Looks
So
like it.
Okay, good. I'm going to skip past all those exact same slides that we already looked at before.
There we go.
But this one you do need a passport for. So somebody, I forget who I was talking to, somebody is on our fall trip and they were under the impression that they could still use that enhanced ID to get across the border, and that is not the
No.
truth.
No.
You must have a passport. So anyway, for this trip, you have to have a passport. Passports are running just about 4 to 6 weeks right now. They're not running a really long time to get. We just had a couple of people that actually paid the expedited fee to get their passports because they were worried it was going to take a long time, and they got theirs in 2 weeks with the expedited fee. So, you know, plenty of time to get passports if you don't have one. Anyway, Halifax is where there is a quilt shop that I have asked for us to be able to stop in. I have not actually been in that quilt shop. I was on another trip on a bus and we drove by it, and my nose was absolutely squished to the window as we were going by it. We stopped too far away for me to make it back by foot. So it would have been probably a half an hour for me to get back.
For your, form, you want the
And then
regular
back.
salt chicken or the dried?
We only had an hour and a half
Oh, the
stop.
regular's
So,
fine.
so anyway, let's see there. So we did not stop, or I was not able to go to it, but I'm telling you, I looked it up and I'm like, oh. Anyway, it looks really nice. And these kind of quilt shops in these locations always have something really neat and location specific. Like last year when we went to the Black Hills and we stopped at that quilt shop in Chamberlain, and she's the one that has those panels printed for the Dignity statue, and those were so cool. I mean, I think everybody on the bus bought at least one of the Dignity panels. So they'll have something like this. When we were out in Bar Harbor, we stopped at a shop and she had some stuff that was very specific to the coast of Maine. So the same thing. She'll have something really fun. Anyway, and I believe there is another quilt shop that's not listed on this page right here, but it is in here is where the other quilt shop is, in Newfoundland. So hopefully we will get both of those in there. So this particular one, tour $39.49, and then the airfares on it is the next line. There's optional excursions down there. I did not realize we had any optional excursions on here. Tom, I thought we put both of those excursions on there.
I can go ahead and make them so they're not optional. I think that it's just showing as optional now because I did not realize, but I will go ahead and require them.
Okay, yeah. So there's one that was, oh, where is it? I just thought it would be nice if we just all did them together. And they're both of them really cool. There it is. The Quidi Village and Dinner. So it's a Native American, or no, it's not Native American. They're in Canada. It's a Native Canadian, Native North American. How about that? Native North American village with right on the sea. So that would be very different from what we see out in the Southwest. So we would go see a presentation there and have dinner there, which is really cool. And then also the whale watch. Why would we not do a whale watch? It's going to be the season and they're going to be out there. And I'm telling you, if you've not been out in the Atlantic and you've not seen a humpback whale breach, it's awe-inspiring. It really is. So I had asked to have both of those added. So those should both be just included. That shouldn't be showing as an optional. So just add that 174 up to the main tour. You don't want to miss that. Anyway, and then the promotional things are below that. So here is that. So the total I've got for the whole thing on that is $62.32, which you can get money off of if you sign up. Anyway, here's the first day. We fly from, again, Chicago for most of us, into Halifax. So Halifax, where's the map? Did I go past the map? There it is. So we fly into Halifax here. And then we get to go see, oh, we get a kilted local guide. Which, by the way, can be male or female, so can't get too excited. So we'll head out of Halifax. We'll get that quilt shop squeezed in here. And then we go to Peggy's Cove. So Peggy's Cove is out on the promontory, sticking out, and it's really a pretty lighthouse. It's a really pretty lighthouse. You've seen pictures of it. If you've never been there, you've seen it, just because it is so picturesque. It's very rugged. There's a lot of, not a lot. There are several small little buildings right around it where there are like artisan shops and things. But it's not really a very populated area. It's windswept. It's really rocky and it's beautiful. We have a welcome lunch that day as well. We get to see Fairview Lawn Cemetery, where many Titanic victims were buried. We get to see the Victorian era Halifax Public Gardens, and we will be there in the season, so we will be able to see that. And then we get to go to the Canadian Museum of Immigration, which talks about all the immigrants. So Nova Scotia is named Nova Scotia because that's where a whole lot of Scottish people came to when they were doing what the Britons called the clearances in Scotland. And that's when the Cromwell's troops and all them went up into Scotland and they outlawed kilts and they outlawed bagpipes and they killed some people. They just tried to just destroy those people. And a lot of them left and moved down to here and brought their culture with them. So it's going to be really interesting. Let's see. Then we get to go to Moncton, which is up in New Brunswick. So if you look on that map, Moncton is over there. A lot of forested area there. There's some huge national parks for Canada around there, and just trees. When we're in Moncton, we get to, what are we doing in Moncton? We are visiting a port town of Lunenburg. We're going to go to Sugar Moon Farm, which is maple syrup harvesting. Then the next day, we get to go to the Bay of Fundy. The Bay of Fundy is something really interesting. It is the site of the highest tides in the world. And it's got to do with this river that comes out and meets the ocean there. And because of some physics thing, I don't know, I'm not a physicist, but some kind of physics thing, the way the water comes out, the way the ocean comes in and out, it makes the tides be 60 to 70 feet. So when the tides are out, you're seeing basically the ocean floor, and you can get down there. There's stairs to get down there and look and see at all the cool tidal pools and things left below. It's really neat. And boy, when that tide comes back in, it comes in fast. You don't want to be stuck down there. When I was there, there was somebody that didn't come up fast enough, and they ended up having to sit for, I don't know how many hours, I guess 12 it would be, up on top of a rock formation to wait for the tide to go back out to get back in. We don't want to do that. Let's see. We get to go to Hopewell Rocks Provincial Park. We get to go to beaches and covered bridges and whatnot at a photo stop at Mary's Point, which is a sanctuary for shorebirds and a wetland preserve. And of course, we get to see that Bay of Fundy, which is incredible. Then we're going to cross the bridge, and the bridge is from here to here. If you can see my mouse, not sure. Going across to Prince Edward Island. So that bridge is the longest bridge to span ice-covered water. So it's a long ride. It'll be really interesting. We're going to go to Charlottetown, which is the capital of Prince Edward Island, and we'll get to go to an authentic Acadian cultural show. And these Acadians are the same ones that went down south into Louisiana and turned into Cajuns. So a lot of culture and really interesting stuff up here. Good food. Okay. French speakers. Let's see, the next day on Prince Edward Island is, of course, where Anne of Green Gables was, the whole series was focused. I don't know how many of you have read the Anne of Green Gables novels or seen the PBS series Anne of Green Gables, but Lucy Maud Montgomery's Anne of Green Gables house and everything is going to be there. We can go visit that. And then we get to go to the Confederation Center of the Arts and see Canada's origins and evolution through the arts, which will be cool. Then we get to go to Cavendish Beach, which is a 5-mile long beach along the Gulf of St. Lawrence, which if you were taking a cruise through all of this, your cruise ship would pass through there. Oh, then we transfer to Cape Breton Island. So that's coming around this way and up. Included meals this day, we're going to have our breakfast, and looks like we're taking a ferry across there to a rural area on the Northumberland Strait, and then stopping in a coastal town of Peaktu, which is where the first Scottish immigrants landed in the late 1700s. Then we travel to Baddeck on the shore of Brador Lake, Cape Breton Island, and that's where the Cabot Trail starts. Get to go to the Alexander Graham Bell National Historic Site, and we have an included dinner in Braddock. The next day, we have tour of Cape Breton Highlands National Park. We drive up to Chetty Camp, which is a fishing town on the Cabot Trail. Enjoy an included lunch, which will include fish. Yum. Oops, we got somebody in the waiting room. So that'll be great. And there's nothing like seafood caught right fresh where you're sitting. Get to enjoy the view, the ocean and the mountains as we drive along the Cabot Trail through Cape Breton Highlands National Park, which I have driven through there and it is gorgeous. We get a scenic photo stop at Neal's Harbor and Ingonish Beach. And then we're back in Halifax. Now this particular itinerary shows we depart from there. But on this particular tour, the reason it is as much as it is because I've done the extension on it to Newfoundland. So we take a short flight to Newfoundland. And we go to St. John's, which is up here. And in St. John's, we get a sightseeing tour of St. John's. We get to take the panoramic bus tour, which I'm assuming we're going to change to a different bus because we will have left our other bus behind. We get to go past Government House, mid-19th century Basilica of St. John of the Baptist, stop on Signal Hill, which has the 17th century fortifications and is the site of Cabot Tower. And then we get to go to Cape Spear. It's the most easterly point in North America, and walk along the Cliffside Trail to Cape Spear Lighthouse. This is the day that we have our QITV village and dinner, the native Canadian or native North American, however you say that, village with dinner. And then the next day we get to go spend some time in St. John's, and that's when our whale watch is going to be, is in the time in St. John's, I believe. So that is a good one as well. Anybody got any questions on that one?
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Will there be, we are interested in going further north from St. John's, Newfoundland to a little town called Pooch Cove for
Okay.
family reasons. Is that something that we'd be able to incorporate before we have to leave?
Tom, can you answer that?
Yeah, I'm thinking if there's time, you absolutely can. You should have some free time when you're in Newfoundland, and if you don't want to miss some of the excursions, you can always, opt out of something like the guided sightseeing tour.
Yeah.
Yeah, or even
Yeah,
one of the
so when we go
excursions.
to that's a good point. It does show that the last day in St. John's is pretty much open except for that whale watch. However, this trip that we're leaving on, what is it, next week? We're leaving to go to England, Wales, and Ireland next week. And I've got a gal who's got family in Ireland, and she is going to skip the 2 castles we go to see on whatever day that is. And they actually rented a car and they're driving up to see their relatives in it's on the west coast of Ireland, just shy of the Northern Ireland border. She told me the town and I've forgotten it. But anyway, they've actually decided they're going to do that instead, which is absolutely fine, so long as we know and can plan for that. So, I'm not getting on the bus going, oh my God, we've lost someone. Which is scary. We don't want to do that. So yes, absolutely, we can do that. Do you know how far it is?
Well, it's an island, so I don't think it's all that far. It's on the coast and further north
Okay,
from St. John's.
okay. Well, you wouldn't see. Let me take a look at that. I mean, Newfoundland is not small. But if we're on just this island over here, not Newfoundland, Labrador, if you're over here, if it's due north, because it looks like the coastline goes west, not too far north of where we would be, so you'd probably be fine. It doesn't look like it's crazy far away.
Yeah, I'll look at the map I have again one more time, but I have a feeling do we know, is there a place to actually rent a car in a place like St. John's?
Yes, there is. Yes. I
Or do
have not
they-
personally done it, but I have a friend that got a car there and just drove around the entire thing.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else? Okay. All right. Well, you can always call me here if you have any questions about it, but I'm going to take this and post this. Of course, it's been recorded, so I'm going to go ahead and post this on our YouTube channel. So if you want to go back to it, find out exactly what the deal was. But if anybody had any questions for Tom, we've got him on here. Now's the time to ask him about specifically the EF Go Ahead Tours business. If you had any questions about, what they did, what they don't do, now would be a great time for that. We can always call him and ask him if you have a question later.
Good.
Once again, for the Canadian tour, so to speak, Newfoundland or Labrador,
Right.
what would be the single occupancy charge? I have to admit, though, for some reason, I do not have a chat down at the bottom of my Zoom, so I could
Really?
call you.
No worries. I also
where's
don't.
that?
I thought I was going to be able to post it in there, but
Oh, I bet it's
for-
because it's because I'm recording. That's why. It's because I'm recording it.
no worries.
Okay.
Chat goes away when you record. Yeah.
Oh, then
So
I can,
So Tom, if you could email me what that would be for both of them, so I have that.
absolutely, yeah. It is
Thank you.
$840 for the single room for Canada, and then $1370 for the single rooms for the National Parks Tour.
okay, super, thank you.
So what did you say? 8 what?
$870 for Canada, but
It's
I'll send these to you
870.
as well.
Okay. Okay. And I who asked that? Susie asked that. So
Yes.
we find roommates for people that are looking for roommates as well.
Oh, they
So-
don't want me as a roommate. I snore too loud.
So I tell you who I would put you with. I know who I would put you with. She can't hear a thing.
I'm a night owl. I snore too loud. I
She
would be
takes
the
a-
worst roommate on the planet.
All right, then. That's fine. But if anybody were looking for a roommate, we'd find you one.
No, I
We've
appreciate
done
it.
pretty well with that. We've done, oh, good kitty. Meow.
I have one more quick question about the first tour. What was the
Okay.
pricing for extending it to Montana?
Oh,
So
That's what
for
I-
the US National Parks Tour, the date that we have does not have the Montana extension available. But if
Okay.
we can get at least 10 people committed to doing the extension, we can always add that in.
okay. Okay. Well, I mean, I can let people know that that's an option. Do you know how much more it would be,
I'm gonna have to double check real quick.
assuming you get 10 more people? Well, just email me that if you would, and then I'll have that to tell people if anybody calls and asks, and I can keep a list, and if we get that many people interested, of course, we can add it.
Perfect.
I mean, that would pretty much knock all of them off. I didn't sign up for the extension on that one because that made for an awful long trip. And
Mhm.
sometimes people just can't be away that far or that long. I mean, we already had 11 days, and sometimes that's pushing it.
Mhm.
But I mean, if there's people that want to do it, then by all means, get it over with all in one fell swoop. Okay. Any other questions? Nope. Okay. All right. I will get this recording up. It'll take it probably, I don't know, an hour to process and get back to me. So as soon as I get it processed back, because I saved it into the cloud, as soon as I get it processed back, I'll convert it and post it up to YouTube, and it'll be on maybe tomorrow morning. I'm going to say tomorrow morning. I can do it at home, but my internet is terrible at home, so it would take all night to load up. So it'll probably be tomorrow morning before it's up on YouTube. Okay.
Okay,
All right.
good.
Thank you guys for tuning in, and I hope somebody comes with us. It's gonna be fun.
Good.
Thanks
Alright.
for the information.
Have a good
All
one.
righty. Thanks, guys.
Good
Bye-bye.
night.
Good night.